Hello, John Carter, John Carter Fine Art. Getting back on this tree that I began scumbling in with paint yesterday. Now you can see I've added a couple of different values of this green, which is phthalocyanine green, with a little bit of alizarin crimson and a little bit of ultramarine blue to get these two different values. And I'll kind of mix in a little subtle middle tone there. And just keep working and looking at my reference here in general. I don't know how well you can see that, to kind of to pick out the different values in there. There's really only two or three, but it's pretty abstract, so I'm not overly hung up about the detail of how it looks. It can look any kind of way as long as it shows the sun coming from this direction as we look out and down at the tree. Kind of cover in those blue areas. The blue is underpainting, or what you might call washing in. I don't really use much wash like a portraitist, but I will do a rough underpainting and blues and indigos a lot of times just to pin down values. Not always. Sometimes I'll just go right at it. And I think that's kind of enough on the darker parts of the tree. And then I'll come in here, same brush, and let's come back to what we were doing with the chrome oxide green yesterday. I'm going to add a little bit of cadmium yellow light to it to brighten it. A little bit of titanium white. Make a couple of values of this. That one's a little steep, so let's put a mid-range in there. There you go. And brighten the steep in a little more. And let's go with one more. Aha. All right, so stay conservative and start with this one in the sunny areas and just test and see how it looks. All right, it's doing what I want it to do. It's really popping it. I don't want to put the same clean green in the same spots. These are just high points where the sunlight is hitting it over the top of that building. And whereas this is in the front. Now here you can have some sunlight hitting this where the branch comes out further and is not in the shadow of the building. Now let's go to a brighter green. For the parts that are actually in the sun. And this is all wet paint behind this. So you can't go messing around trying to paint on top of that too much. I do some wet and wet, but remember it's fat over lean. You can do a stroke or two, but it's got to be fatter than what's underneath it. That is, have more oil in it. And here you can use this also to maybe show a branch that set of leaves that might stand out in front of the others, be closer this way towards the viewer. And use a duller green to push back around it. So, even though these shadows are there, they're in sunlight, so you're going to have contrast, but they won't be as dark as the ones that's in the shadow of the building over here. And now that's really starting to take shape.